Alright YouTube, welcome to Evolve or Die, the channel that focuses on solutions for the human species and for the planet. This week we're talking about how the rich ruling elite have us trapped in something like the Matrix. The first trap of the Matrix is distraction. You have your cell phone, you have your tablet, you have your computer, you have your TV, and that's just entertainment. You have your job, you have your commute, you have your drugs, your stimuli, caffeine, weed, alcohol. All of these things can dull your senses and keep you from seeking the answers to the questions that you might have. Then, another layer is your home life. You're unsatisfied with your partner because media tells you that there's more fish out in the sea. You're angry at your kids because they're rebelling against you. You're stressed out from your work, so you went to the bottle. All of these things are strategically placed in your life so that you have them as an escape, as a distraction from the truth, which is that you're being duped. You're being conditioned from the day that you're born to be a working, consuming slave to the system. And who's at the top of this system? Who put this system in place? There are some rich ruling families that have been in power for a long time. Pretty much since the creation of money. There have been families that have controlled money and then given that money to the people, enslaved those people in a debt system, and that is what's going on today. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Morgans, and several other families own every single corporation on the planet, and any type of subsidiary to it is owned by them through a debt system. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Morgans are in charge of a huge percentage of the World Monetary Fund, the World Monetary Fund, the World Banks, and every single country uses the World Monetary Fund, the World Banks, as their source of financing. That means that every single country on the planet, save for one, North Korea, is run by, or is in debt to, therefore enslaved to, the World Bank. These families. This is how they have gotten their power. We can take our power by realizing that we don't need their money. That money doesn't do anything. It's people who do things. Right now in this system, we do things for money, but we don't need that. But is there another system? Is there another way? Yes, there is. The first system that I'm going to talk to you about today is called the Venus Project. The Venus Project was started by Jacques Fresco, rest in peace, and Roxanne Meadows. Jacques Fresco's life work was to implement a future where there was no poverty, where equality reigned, and has spent every waking minute of his entire life planning a new social system called the resource-based economy. I don't have a lot of time to go into the details. It's out there. Just Google it. Resource-based economy, the Venus Project, Jacques Fresco, Roxanne Meadows. Any of those keywords will get you where you need to be. It's an amazing system that uses technology, sensors, essentially, to track and inventory every resource that humans use. So it's amazing that once you take the power away from the corporations and implement a sensor system that can tell us, the people, how much there is, we can globally decide what to do with it, how we can use it, how we need to use it. That should create abundance instead of scarcity. Capitalism thrives, not creates. I mean, it creates a false sense of scarcity, but it thrives on scarcity. Supply and demand. If there's low supply, you can charge more for it. Then your bottom dollar gets fatter, you get more profits. But if there's abundance, it's cheap or even free. This is the key to the resource-based economy. Utilizing mechanization, as we talked about previously, to eliminate the lower and middle class, raise them. I shouldn't say eliminate, but promote the lower and middle class out of their jobs and into another class of creators, thinkers, innovators who will continue the process of creating abundance for all humans. The issue with the resource-based economy and the Venus Project is that it cannot be implemented until it's demanded. Therefore, the current capitalistic system has to fail before the resource-based economy can be put into place. This leads me to the second option that I've come across in my research, the Ubuntu movement, led by Michael Tellinger, I hope I pronounced that right, from South Africa. He has a more transitionary approach with his program, One Small Town Can Change the World. His approach is a non-violent, turn your back on the system approach that I have been thinking about this for so long and have just now recently come across this system, even though he's been working on it since 2006. One Small Town Can Change the World takes a small town, population around 5,000 people, who wants to be involved, as he puts it, in their own makeover, working towards self-sustainability. Because we know, if we have done any research, that localizing production of our goods and resources is the key to sustainability. That means every populated area needs to be able to supply all of the needs to its population. Therefore, these small towns, being small populations, still being close to the earth, close to the, being close in community, have a better chance of coming together and implementing small projects and large projects alike to making their town self-sustainable, self-sufficient, separate from the capitalistic system. This is a transition, and this is a transitionary plan. Okay? It's something that we can work on until capitalism collapses. It also would help capitalism collapse, because if we were all self-sufficient, we wouldn't need the companies. We wouldn't need the electrical companies, coal, fossil fuels. We wouldn't need food companies. We wouldn't need large entertainment companies, because we would be all supplying all of these needs in our own communities. It's amazing what he has done. And yes, there has even been a first town to sign up and start this project. The town is North Frontenac in Quebec, Canada. The mayor there, Ron Higgins, has signed up with Michael Tellinger and has started implementing some projects already. He has somehow worked out to get free electricity for his citizens if they volunteer 3 hours a week towards their projects. And some of their projects include growing their own food, aeroponically, hydroponically, and they also have started a community restaurant, and this is just the very beginning. If you go to ubuntuplanet.org, and there are links on that website that will show you, and there's even a video from the mayor, Ron Higgins, that kind of tells you what they've been up to, and he has promised to keep everybody up to date on what's going on there. Being the first town to do this sort of a thing, they're kind of breaking ground, which is exciting. They'll be able to make a blueprint for other towns who are excited about this. If you know somebody who lives in a small town, or if you're the mayor of a small town and you happen to catch this video, look it up, look into it. There's nothing more exciting for a small town than to become self-sufficient and self-reliant. It's literally the best insurance policy for small towns. These are two systems that I've come across so far in my research that have really got me excited about the future. None of this doom and gloom, what are we going to do? We have to wait for politics and policies from our leaders. Well, guess what's happening in Washington, D.C.? The opposite of what we need to be happening. I didn't vote to go to war. I didn't vote to have these regulations repealed. I didn't vote for any of that. I don't feel like I'm being heard here, Mr. Trump. I'd like to get a meeting with you, Donald Trump. I'd like to sit down with you and have a conversation. I'd like to see how that goes. That's all I've got for this week. I'm really excited about these two options. The Venus Project out of Venus, Florida. Jacques Fresco and Roxanne Meadows have been working hard to promote that. The Ubuntu movement out of South Africa. Michael Tellinger. Really, guys, look up that information. I'll put some links down in the description. If I can figure out how to do that, maybe I'll put some links here in the video. Blap, blap. I've seen other people do that on videos, so I'm sure I can figure it out. Thank you guys for listening. Let's get excited about the future instead of scared. Let's be motivated into action instead of paralyzed by fear. Motivated into action instead of paralyzed by fear. If I can do it, you can too. As always, keep evolving, and peace.